From Rixie, this is All Staff. Welcome back to the show. Just to be transparent, we just completely botched a whole recording. So we're back.
I feel partly responsible.
It is not Tanner's fault in the slightest. We tried to do something which it was seemingly pretty technical, and we completely botched the recording. But that is our fault.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
The more you learn.
It happens.
So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about, I ran away from my computer before we started this second recording, and I want to show you guys a song that I'm working on that I, in the future, want to bring to Rixie. So,
nice.
Tanner, I'm going to put a link in the chat, and if you could share your screen and play it, I'm not gonna show the audience the entire song just in case it ends up being made, but it's a song that I worked on last week from a very old project that I worked on maybe 4 years ago.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. And full transparency to everyone listening. This is what crashed our first take. So if for some reason it happens again, you won't hear this.
Take 3.
If you're hearing this now, it worked.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, right? Sharing my screen, and I am sharing my audio. And here it is.
Using the RC20.
You already know I need to put some sax on this thing, man.
Yeah.
This is right up my alley with that kind of lo-fi, but still kind of house feel.
Nice, dude. Love it.
So,
Awesome.
Tanner and I recently got copies of RC20, XLN Audio's RC20 Retro Color. And I wrote this 80s dreamy, almost, it's like a Home soundtrack. You know, if you know the artist Home, it's right up that alley. But I was like, man, I'd really love to play around with that. And I went through my old archives of songs, and I was like, man, this would be perfect for it. And so the listeners only just heard a snippet, but yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, is that something I should go along with?
No, I love it.
I really love it too. I think I'm definitely getting some Home vibes, and I think it could stay instrumental, but I also think it could be collaborative because, well, obviously I would be totally psyched to sing on something like that. But
Same.
there are so many great musician Dan as well. I mean, Dan could rip a saxophone lead on that. I don't know. I think it's super cool. I think there's a really good rhythm section there too that you've built.
Honestly, Mason, you should have been writing music this whole time with us, putting stuff out. To be honest, you make awesome fucking electronic music, man. And it needs to be put into the world.
Very true.
That remix you did of Gina's song Reappear, amazing. I wouldn't even be able to say you could put that shit on the radio and people would be bumping it.
Yeah, it's very true.
It is.
I appreciate it. The thing is, for me, to be honest with you, is I have a hard time picking which songs I want to release. And so I end up writing a bunch of music that just sits in my own personal library.
Of course.
Because, I think a part of me is thinking, well, if I put this out, then people are going to think I'm this type of artist. And then can I expand after that? And then, but what I really want is I want to be able to put out any type of music under my own personal name and not have any boundaries of genre. If I want to make a hardstyle track or a house song, like I don't want to be bound to any. I don't want to be like the guy who makes 80s music because of this song, you know?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I mean, it's all how you frame the music, but you also do have, I mean, a very distinctive style in the way you do make mixes and remixes and things. So, I mean, you're always going to have your own style that people are going to recognize, regardless of the genre that you're playing it in.
Yeah. I mean, there's two artists that come to mind when I think of people I would like to emulate. There's a guy named Eprom who doesn't stick to any genre. And then, Tanner, there's a guy that you know named Alex Perez.
Absolutely, yeah.
A lot of people would consider him a drum and bass guy, but I think he would be like, dude, I do whatever I want. And I love that mentality of like, I'm going to make whatever I want regardless of the boundary of any certain genre. So I don't know. I'm glad I got to show you guys that, but we talked about it once in the first recording, but Tanner, tell us again for the people listening how the song did for the first week.
It's done pretty well. It's been played in, multiple countries, and I've gotten really good feedback. People who, I kind of would never expect, like, have been sort of playing it on repeat and like reaching out and being like, wow, this is really good, it's heartwarming. I made this joke earlier, but I will make it again because my fiance, Maddie Mae, was such a like integral part of releasing this song, and me getting sort of psyched about numbers that I'm getting on my releases are kind of a joke to me because she's had releases that are in like, probably like 30,000 plays. So it didn't do that well, but it went well in that I released music, which I'm always excited for. Thank you. She's across the room like, you're doing great, dude.
Stop belittling yourself.
No, I'm so happy, and obviously I'm happy that it can be remixed sooner rather than later. And as I said in the first run of this podcast, that's kind of like partially the reason we started a label, was to be able to remix each other's music like as much as possible. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, no, I think the mix is awesome. I've listened to it a bunch of times. We spoke about it before, but I think it's worth reiterating. I think that we should make this into a remix EP, and I think, I'd like to hear your thoughts, and I think so would the people.
My plan is to get every song that I release on this next EP remixed, possibly multiple times. I want to do some of the remixes too. I want to VIP some of the songs. VIP, for those who don't know what that means, because I've had to look it up 1,000 times. Here it is. VIP means variation in production. And it's usually the artist who like made the original song, basically doing a remix of their original work. So yeah, I want to do some VIPs in my stuff as well, because like you, Mason, I don't want to be sort of pigeonholed in a specific genre.
I get that.
It's fun to work sort of across lines of traditional, genres of music, because, we don't listen to just one thing. So we don't want to just make one thing.
Yeah, I think that would be great. It's really fun to work on flattened stems. And you see the project way differently when you get flattened like compressed stems. Does that make sense? Like when you get to look at all the pieces on like 8 or 10 or 15 lines, you get a lot more free reign because you can only work on what you're given. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You can obviously change the vocals and the instruments and the keyboards, but at the end of the day, everything that they've given you is what you have to work with. And you could use all of it. You could use a piece of it. And I mean, in my remixes that I've done, just for transparency, I usually start with just the vocal and try to incorporate other pieces. But long story short, I think it would be really cool if you did a VIP because you would change the songs potentially like 180.
Yeah, I mean that's the fun of it, right? We have so many talented people in this network already.
Yeah.
And I think everyone will have just very different takes on these songs. So I'm super excited about that. The next step for me is obviously releasing the whole EP and, sharing it with the world. And then I think slowly but surely start dropping these remixes and or just the whole remix EP. It might just be a fun EP to drop and let people sort of consume at their own pace, you know?
I have kind of a wild question.
Yeah, what's that?
How would you feel about finding an artist to do a certified chopped and screwed version of the album?
That could be cool.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
I think at this point I'd probably prefer like just a chopped and screwed like remix of one of the songs. But I know that like in recent history I've seen like a lot of artists that I really dig like have these whole chopped and screwed like sort of versions of their records come out. Like Thundercat and like Little Dragon did that like back in the day.
The chopped and screwed culture, for those who don't know, is essentially it was created by a guy in Houston, Texas, who called himself DJ Screw, where he would slow down the music and chop up like repeat bars. And that's a complete tip of the iceberg explanation. But most chopped and screwed records that you hear are essentially bootlegs, if you will, quote unquote bootlegs, where artists find the music, download the MP3 or the waves, and slow them down and you know, change them to their liking. But I think that sound and that transaction needs to be like official. Like there are so many records that I would love that are chopped and screwed that would be on Spotify. And there's like
That's a good point.
1% of those records on Spotify because they're quote unquote bootlegs.
You're right. Yeah, and that is a very cool like culture that needs to maybe be brought out of the black market of music, if you will.
All I'm saying is that if you want to do like a chopped and screwed version, I would be all for it. And even if you don't want to do that, there's another guy by the name of Black Market Dub who does like reggae versions of songs.
Oh man, that'd be so cool.
I've heard of
That would be so cool. Yeah, you showed me those.
I actually spoke to him directly like a year ago.
Really?
I bet he would be down to like, essentially what he does is he takes your vocals and he writes a reggae tune around it, and he's so good at it. He's so good at it.
Oh man, his stuff is so fun.
I think some of it's actual like analog recording, like tape. Maybe that's an option. But finding interesting ways to repurpose your songs would be great. Because if I had an album, dude, I would want somebody to chop and screw it officially and just be like, hey, chop and screw it. We'll give you 30% of the royalties. We'll take the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, okay. Well, I'm gonna keep that in mind.
Just consider
I like that
it.
idea. Yeah, I
consider it.
appreciate you. I appreciate you. Yeah, like sharing that idea. I think that's a cool route to go.
So I actually have something interesting that I want to talk about, and I want to get your guys' opinion about it, because you know I'm feeling a few different ways about it. So I want you guys to either talk me off the ledge or tell me to fucking dive right in. So this past Monday, we recorded the second episode of Debuff's official Pivot.
Yeah.
And when we recorded it, we filmed it as well.
Yeah.
With our phones.
Yeah.
And it was pretty simple to film. The files on our phones were pretty large. But not anything that I'm not used to as a video editor.
Yeah.
And it took me a couple hours to edit it. And my question to you is, do we upload it to YouTube, see how it does, and figure out if we want to continue to do that? Because it is an extra step.
Yeah. I would agree with that right there. I would say, use it as a use case. Get your data off of it, figure out exactly what the insights are giving you from YouTube. And then going forward, we can assess if that's something that is worth your time and worth, putting that extra effort in if it's something that the people want.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great concept, and I love the idea, and I love the usability of the phones as the cameras. It's awesome now that we can do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's great overall, but we got to see, where it goes numbers wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you putting in all this effort, and then it get, no more than 50 to 100 views.
To be honest with you, like the YouTube channel, I mean, it gets maybe, I don't know, like a handful of views every day.
Well, that's because it's just audio.
It's just audio. And so I think people have a hard time grasping listening to audio on YouTube unless it's music. So my thought was, if I can start filming Debuff at least in a super simple way, maybe it's worth doing, because who knows? Maybe people like it and it gets the most views on our whole channel.
Yeah. Yeah, which is, that's always a possibility.
But that's what would have to happen, because it's an extra step right now.
I like the idea. It's worth, you put in the effort to get the basic, like, this is your science experiment,
Yes.
You're going through the scientific process right now. You're testing your hypothesis by putting it on YouTube. That's where we're going to see all the data and then come to a healthy conclusion in one of these meetings.
Do you agree with that, Tanner? I just want to push it to the group.
Of course, yeah. It as long as it isn't too much work for you, I think it could be a flagship, like, sort of podcast to try to do video with as well.
I mean, ideally, I would have more than just a static camera angle, but it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes, so it's like, that's a lot of work if you start to add extra shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although one thing you could do is you could set up an overview camera. That way, that would just give you something to kind of change to
cut to.
So it's not just the same static image every time.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And you probably have the equipment to do it.
I do. The thing about it was, like, if I was going to do video on a podcast, I wanted it to be really simple.
Yeah.
Use your iPhone, go vertical. I can line those up in Final Cut, export it, add a few titles,
Yeah.
I had a few issues with something called audio drift, where when cameras are not recording at the right sample rate, they can drift apart.
Mm-hmm.
But I found a workaround.
Okay.
That's the thing. When I was editing it, I was texting Sean and Steve, and I was like, guys, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm getting this audio drift, and I can't figure it out. And, like, I was like, I don't know if I want to do it, because I don't want to have to do this every time. And then I figured out a way to, like, make it work and, like, it be not so bad. So,
yeah, like I said, it takes you a couple extra hours. That's up on you, and if you want to do that going forward, but I think we should definitely do this test case.
Yeah, I agree.
That way we have actual data on if it works or if it doesn't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Even if you want to do it for, like, just this month or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm going to see how it goes.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. But I have one other small topic that we can't really talk too much about, because it's we just can't. We have to do our taxes.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
How do you do taxes on nothing?
Well, we get money. We're going to get money back. So
based on our expenses?
Yeah, we can't go into a huge amount of detail, but I can tell you, just for people to feel like they're a part of the team, this is what we need. We need the name and social security, address of each owner, percentage of ownership, amount of money each owner has invested, amount of money each owner has spent for the business, and then any income. So I'm just bringing that up because we got to do that in the next month.
Yeah, we got 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have to get it in March.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just bringing that up because we got to take care of that.
Yeah.
This seems like a good podcast to take care of it all.
Yeah.
Well,
let's get the personal accountants. Let's all sit down and talk about it.
Let's get our numbers.
Let's get to crunching, dude.
This is the thing about this meeting and this podcast, is that this is the shit that we have to talk about. We have to talk about doing taxes. Yeah. It's a part of running a fucking business, you know?
It's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have to do taxes for all the money that we make on streaming services.
Yeah.
Dude, the funny thing is that with all the money, so these, for example, business expense,
Of course.
computers, cables, Dan's new microphone, Dan's new Scarlett, Tanner's microphone, Tanner's headphones. Those are all things that we can deduct.
But do we need to give receipts for them?
We need to give receipts if we get audited.
Okay.
Good to know.
Yeah.
But
Well, I can pull all the order information offline. So
that's what I'm saying, dude. Most of the stuff we buy is offline anyway.
yeah. Well, online
Is online, but off of
the
web.
off of the
Off of the
online.
line. The said line.
off the World Wide Web.
Off of the online. Yes.
Yeah, we just need we'll need to sit down and do an Excel spreadsheet in the next week or two.
And we all go over our expenses of what we've had to purchase for the business or things like that. I mean, I did some advertising and I commissioned some artwork, but I don't know if that's still considered a business expense.
Yeah, no, I mean, I spent I think $400 or $500 running ads for some of the shows a few months ago.
Yeah, so I mean,
And
that's
so-
all
Oh,
stuff
nice. I
that's-
didn't know that you did that. That's awesome.
I was just I was trying out this new on Overcast. They have this ad thing that'll come up when somebody's listening to a show, and we got I think 200 subscribers on the Daily Rec from
Oh
it.
wow, that's great.
Oh, it's super cool. Yeah, the only thing that I've spent money on for the record label has been getting all of our music online and paying for licenses for cover songs for AP Projects live records.
We might end up getting a couple $1,000s back, honestly, because
Yeah.
maybe we made $100, $200, and otherwise that's what this business is. I mean, we're working towards the green, but ultimately we are spending money.
Yeah, we have to. I mean,
But that's how it works. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Luckily, we're all blessed to have full-time jobs too.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It's a labor of love.
Although I would prefer this. I would prefer this to be my full-time job.
Yeah, me too.
We'll get there.
It's maybe a good transition into the topic of I followed up on what we talked about last week and the week before that. And I think this got deleted from the last run of this podcast, which
It did.
yeah. I started the Bandcamp, guys. Literally just started it. I've spoken to most of the artists who've contributed. I still have a couple more people to talk to, but I was driving home from work today and I was like, I got to do it. I'm doing it because I'm gonna roast myself on this podcast again if I don't.
Dude, I listened to the last few minutes before we got on, and I was like, oh man, I wonder if Tanner's gonna shoot himself in the foot.
No, man, I love it.
I was waiting to hear about it too. I was like,
I love it because it's basically, it's the audio receipts.
Yeah.
Every week I'm like, dude, what did I say in this meeting that I'm gonna either regret I said or
Exactly.
be like, I'm proud of myself for doing something.
yeah.
Yeah. No, well, dude, I actually had a question about that. You may be too early in uploading things to know the answer, but whenever I use Bandcamp, which, dude, I actually have I saw a really funny tweet about Bandcamp. It was Bandcamp is the farmer's market of music, of buying music.
It's just below SoundCloud.
Well, no, it's where you find the eccentric shit,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
It's for starting artists. I mean,
well, yeah, I mean,
It's also for people who want to support. Yeah, I mean,
it's really more of a community.
everything.
thing.
it's
I
the
feel like.
farm to table
Yeah.
of music.
Yeah, basically.
it really is.
When I go on Bandcamp, especially if I'm on a record label page, they have a deal usually where it says pay $5 and you'll get all 20 releases, or
Of course.
pay
yeah.
$100 and get all 200 releases.
Yep.
Is that something that we can do?
It's all going to be stuff that we can do. We can even start a subscription service via Bandcamp. Bandcamp's super cool. They they've created a platform for people who really do want to invest in in artists that they care about. So,
Yeah.
the hope is that we can direct some traffic there as well. And like I said before, I mean, it's really about like actually being able to send money to these people who are making this art, Like I would be really happy in the beginning if it helped me cover the cost of what, the Bandcamp is going to cost. But I also really want to give back to these people who like believed in us to work with them.
Yeah.
In the beginning and really start that relationship, like making that relationship more like meaningful to some of these people who've probably been not working as much, specifically in music, the past year because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that, and I'm excited to learn more about what I can do through Bandcamp, and I will keep you all updated on this podcast.
Yeah, man. Let us know because I would love to figure out a way to do either the subscription or just like the pay for the whole catalog, at a discounted rate.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I've done that before and I love it.
Dude, it's so cool.
Especially if a label or an artist has like 100 releases.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking on expenses and taxes and things like that, I was going to see if we could possibly get a mic and an arm for me through the business, and that way I can start getting to work with Susan on some of our ideas, and we could start putting out new podcasts, new ideas that we may have, or things like that. And maybe I can bring in some of my friends who are here too, to even do their own podcasts together and facilitate that. But yeah, I really just need that second mic.
Yeah.
And I'll be good to go.
Yeah, dude, that sounds good.
Don't you have extra pod mics now that you have the SM7s?
Well, so I have Steve's pod mic. I could send you that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If you could send me that, and if we could just like expense an arm, like a Rode arm for it, I mean, that would be fantastic.
That would be super cool.
The only thing I'll say, and I think it's going to be fine, but this space only has 3, but there's a good chance if I need a 4th, I will just go buy an SM7 for the 4th.
Well, that was your plan to begin with, anyway.
That was my plan to begin with.
To go for the 4,
and that's what I'm saying.
It's on record, Mace.
Yeah,
so,
it is on record.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, dude, you can have that mic.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. So I can get to work with Susan too, and I can get her on the mic and starting to get more, the feel for it, so she gets more comfortable on it. And then I could start trying to talk to some of my friends, because I have some interesting people who live up down here in Florida. And I was also thinking of a podcast idea. It would basically just be called Florida Man. And
Florida Man.
Oh yeah,
I would basically be, it would be kind of shorter, but it would be like what Florida Man is doing that day.
I'm into it. I'm excited for some Florida Man stories. I think everyone in the United States is excited for some Florida Man stories.
I mean, there's tons of them online. I know some of them just based on some of the people I know from down here. But yeah, I mean, I think that'd be a good idea too. And I could bring some of those people in to talk if I had that second mic too. So
yeah.
Even if I could get one of those, like the drum mic stands, or just like a standing one, like I can just put on the side of the desk that somebody can talk into. I mean, that would be ideal.
I could send you one of those for free, like a standing mic stand.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anything we could do to save any costs, I want to be able to do.
Yeah. That. I actually just inherited a couple that were donated to Maddie's new shop.
Tanner, I have one in the box that Steve gave me.
Oh, awesome.
Because that's what he was using.
Wait, what is this?
And it has all the attachments for the mic itself too.
He had a pod mic with a table mic stand, an XLR, and my Zoom H4n Pro.
Okay, yeah.
Obviously, I would just keep the H4, and I can send you the rest of the kit.
That's fine.
That makes sense.
I just need your address.
I think I gave it to you already. It's in our group
and
chat.
like $200 or $300 as well.
Okay. It'll be an escrow.
No, I actually podcast ideas. I had one that I planted the seed when Steve and Sean come here on Mondays to record Debuff. We usually try and like just make a dinner out of it just because it's like we're going to be here anyway.
Yeah.
And so Danielle, who is Sean's girlfriend, has been here, and Maddie, my girlfriend, has made the podcast table the resident puzzle table.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
Nice.
Danielle and Maddie do all these puzzles together. And so I was like, oh, you guys should do a show called Puzzle Talk where you just talk while you guys do puzzles.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly
Puzzle talk.
what it is.
I love that.
So
And, they'll be talking about something and be like, "Oh yeah, can you hand me that corner piece over there?"
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, it's a corner piece.
And like, dude, you know what would be really cool is if we strung up an overhead an overhead
a camera.
and the whole YouTube video was just them completing the puzzle while they were talking.
Oh man, what? That's a great idea.
That's what I said.
that
It's
is a
like
great idea.
it's fully fleshed out. I don't know how they feel about being on microphone while they're doing a puzzle, but
Well, both of them are like, I hate how I sound on microphones. And I'm like, everybody hates how they sound on a microphone.
don't we all? Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah, you think I don't hate my nasally ass voice every time
We
I hear it?
all hate our voices.
Mason's like in the corner smoking a cigar. He's like, "Welcome to the world of broadcast. Welcome to the world of broadcast."
Here, I'm gonna get a live reaction. She's sitting here doing a puzzle. Just tell me.
Oh my gosh!
Just tell me
Wait,
really.
this is happening right now.
No. It's just Maddie. Just tell me why.
Yeah, no. This is like literally it. There's a mic in front of your face, Maddie.
Yeah, you're doing it right now.
It's not. It's not recording. Would you do it? Yes or no? And why? Why one or the other?
I don't know. I'm leaning towards no.
Why?
Because I feel like
Come around here and talk in this.
It's a sacred space, dude.
Everyone,
It's a sacred space.
Madison.
I personally feel like it's boring to have a podcast where you're doing a puzzle, but nobody can see what you're doing on the podcast because it's all audio.
That's why we'd have the YouTube video, though.
That's why we'd have the overhead video. Tell her that it's a sacred space and we shouldn't break the puzzle.
We
realm.
don't want to like hurt your escape from reality.
Danielle and I talk a lot of shit, and I don't want to like have to change people's names.
Again, sacred space.
If we're talking shit about like
for talking
people that we know or
ish.
like people in our family or anything like that, like it would just be us, and I don't want to shit talk like you and Sean the whole time because that's
those
kind
things
of what it is.
those things can be edited out.
I don't know. That's half
Okay,
of it.
I'm realizing that Mason's like, I'm just trying to hear the shit that you're talking now.
He
No,
just wants the goss.
It's not even that.
Who
Look,
doesn't want that hot tea?
here's the thing.
Dan wants it.
Give me 30 seconds. I want to show you the art that I started working on.
Oh my God, you started working on art?
He already made art for it.
Good Lord. This is such a Mason move to make art, to have a fully fleshed out idea, everything ready, the mic set up, and then on top of that, the people who he wants to do the podcast don't even want to do a podcast in the first place. That's a Mason Carlton move. I love it. I've been that person before.
You still are that
You're
person.
right.
Did you hear that?
It is.
Maddie, did you hear that? Oh my gosh.
You still are that person, Tanner.
Sometimes I we're in a meeting right now.
You're the music version of that.
How am I the music version of that? You know what? You might be right, actually.
Oh man.
You might be right. I might be the music version of that. I feel like Mason needs to be back here for this, but I do want to say that I tried to have Nathan and Gina on tonight to talk about the new restaurant that they started, which is super exciting.
Both Rixie artists. One a musician and one a podcast. Yeah.
Mason, I was saying that I tried to have Nathan and Gina on here tonight.
It's okay. We'll get them on. Maybe in the studio with Mason or something.
We will.
We will get them on.
Yeah.
I think they're up for a phone call, and I think that'd be super cool because they have probably some pretty good stories from the new restaurant, Jackleg. Shout out to Jackleg.
Culpeper,
Got
Virginia.
some ramen from there last night.
Yeah,
2 nights ago.
We just need to figure out the technical stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Mason, I just roasted you, and you weren't here.
Yeah.
And then Dan,
I heard most of it.
and then Dan was like, "Dude, you're the musical version of that." And I was like, "That's fair. All right." I just roasted myself.
Yeah, you did.
Dude, that was a self-own.
Dude, self-roast.
That was a self jam.
And I'm just the enabler. I'm just like, yeah, man, let's do it.
All right, for those listening, I'm sharing my screen. Share my entire screen. Share. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it look?
Nice.
I mean, that doesn't look bad.
Right?
I think that's a good start.
Maddie's
Yeah.
a little too harsh on it.
Yeah, she is too harsh on this artwork.
I think that's a great start. I think that's a good, we all have to start somewhere with our artwork. I don't know if, is that a picture from the night that
Yeah,
we need new pictures, dude.
you're right. We do. I just, it was just what I had.
Maybe you should come into the space while they're doing a puzzle, which I'm sure they'd love,
Yeah.
and take a picture of
They'd
them doing
love
it.
it.
They were sitting there doing the puzzle after we recorded the episode, and I was like, hey, what do you guys think about this?
True.
I don't know. I thought it was fun. And here's one other thing that I thought. What if, even if you don't do the video, but if you do the video, if you take a top-down photo of the puzzle, and every episode that comes out, the art changes from how the puzzle's getting finished.
I mean, it's not a bad idea.
That's kind of cool.
I mean, if you think of it as like a set time frame, like we are just going to record you for like 20 minutes of you doing this puzzle.
Great talk today, guys. I think we got a lot of great stuff figured out. We got to do our taxes. Got to figure out the rest of the Bandcamp stuff. And I guess we'll see what happens with the Debuff full video version.
Totally. And looking forward to hearing some new content from Dan and his Florida fam.
Yes.
I'm trying to build it up down here too, so we have a little bit of a second home.
Dude, you got this. I believe in you. We believe in you.
I'm a regional director of the Southeast now.
Yeah. Dude, Rixie South.
Dude, you're in the Florida
Rixie
branch.
South. Well, technically, you're still in the South.
Yeah, we're Rixie
good point.
South. You're Rixie Southeast.
Southeast.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk at you next week. Thanks.
Peace.
See ya.
All Staff is a production of Rixie, edited and mixed by myself, Daniel Walker, and Tanner Carlton. If you want to keep up with all things Rixie, follow us on Instagram at rixie.co. That's RIXEY.co. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review and rate the show. It really helps out.